I'm focused. I've been watching for the omens. I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded. I got the feeling that you know it. Yeah, I've only just begun. I won't stop until it's done, till you're broken. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the lighter. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. So
I get into that really. I love that song and I love everything about it. So when I get into it, I forget to turn it off. So Jason, I'm super excited to have you on today. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your business and what you do. But first, I would love to hear about the story of your business. Like, tell me about your business.
Okay, so
And tell me specifically like how it started. Like what's the story about like the inception of this amazing business? So for everybody who doesn't know, which nobody knows, Jason's business is to help people specifically with their motorcycles in a way. It's more like a class, right?
yeah, it's a hands-on learning environment. Yes.
Yeah, it's super inventive and super exciting to me. I'm a motorcycle owner. I love motorcycles. I've owned a Suzuki and I've owned a couple of different motorcycles, which I love. Some of them are very loud, which I don't know why, but I like showing off my bikes as loud as I can, and beating people off of the line at red lights and stuff. But so what I really want to know is, tell me the story. I'm super curious about the story about why you started this business. Like, what is behind you actually beginning this?
So it's been a long time in the making. I love teaching. I had a lot of apprentices being a lineman. But the epiphany was we were out in my front yard working on somebody's bikes, just general maintenance, no big deal. But it's like 100 degrees outside. It was afternoon. The sun was, starting to go down, so I was just chilling off. And they're like, man, I wish I knew more about how to do this. They always come to my yard and my front because I have the tools and the knowledge. So I'm teaching them how to do this to maintain their bikes. And they're like, this would be really fun to be able to like do this and have a place we could go. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. So I him-hawed around for a few years, kind of just thinking about it. And then COVID happened and everybody was having a hard time going anywhere and doing anything, but all the bikers were coming out in force. It's like, we got wind therapy. Let's go. Let's go ride together. Yeah, because you're separated, right?
Did you call it wind therapy? I love that.
Wind therapy. Yeah, that's what we call it. People go to pay psychiatrists. We buy an expensive motorcycle, dump a bunch of money into it, and go hit the wind for our therapy. Yes, just let everything go, man. Just you and the breeze and the open country, and hit the twisties and love it.
As you're telling your story, my favorite thing ever in the world is to go up the canyon in the fall and to smell all the smells and to feel all the feelings in the canyon. Favorite thing ever. Sorry, keep going with your story though.
Oh no, that's part of what this whole thing's about. Is you take those thoughts and that feeling of being up there and that nice cool breeze and the smell, and then at the end of the day, you're like, okay, now I got to go to the shop and get my bike worked on.
Right.
So shops in the spring are generally 2, 3, 4 weeks backed up. Middle summertime, we're the same way. So during the COVID time,
be able to work on your own motorcycle, right? I mean, you have Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance, and like motorcycles are made so you can get into them, so you can fix them yourself. But most people don't know how to.
Don't know how exactly, or have the tools to do it.
Right.
So you start looking around, you start reading the owner's manual, like, oh man, I need this, I need that. So I was talking to a coworker one time who started a nonprofit, Sober Sledders, and we were just talking. I said, man, I had this idea for a while. We were up 45 feet in the air in a bucket truck to build fix power lines. And we started talking about this whole idea. And he's like, man, I love this, because he's a writer too. He's a big snowmobiler. And that's a big thing, but he does the riding in the summer to keep his, as we call it, throttle addiction going. And we started coming up with this idea. He's like, you have the knowledge and you love to teach. Why don't we go for it? Why don't you try this? So we knocked out a few ideas, and I came up with the idea of a community-based DIY shop. You can come in, work on your own bikes, and you have all the tools, climate controlled, so it's not 100 degrees outside, or in your garage with your space heater trying to do stuff. It's a safe environment, and if you get hung up, you don't know, you have me or some of my techs here to help guide you through it. Well, then we're like, wouldn't it be cool to have classes? Just basic maintenance classes. I mean, just as simple as, how do you do your oil change? I mean, you said you've owned a couple of different bikes. Is every bike the same to do an oil change on?
Yeah, no, they're all different, right?
They're all different, and they all have different things they take to do it. So we started teaching classes, basic motorcycle maintenance, the fork rebuilding. People want to learn how to build carburetors. We teach you the basics of carburetors. We got a class coming up this week on how to sync them. If you have a couple more, 4 carburetors, you got to make them all in line. So we opened it up, and then people were just started finding us. My very first day open, I've made an alliance with some other shops. We have a community of shops that have all come together to help spread the word, to spread the knowledge. Some specialize in stuff that we don't. We specialize in stuff they don't. Well, this other shop says, hey, I got the sport bike rider guy. He needs a tire done. I can't do it. Can you? I said, yeah, send him down. So he came down. We got his bike on the lift, and I said, you want to learn how to do this? And he went, what? You're going to teach me how to do this? I said, yeah. Do you want to learn? He goes, absolutely. So we got him up there. We pulled his tire off. He learned how to do his own tire. He learned how to torque everything down. He learned how to inspect everything. We went through the whole thing, and he left there, and he's like, I've always wanted to learn how to do this. He goes, but I don't have all the special Ducati tools. And those people who have Ducatis know what I'm talking about with special tools. And he drove out of there. A week later, he brought a buddy. Man, I want to learn how to do this stuff. Yeah. And it just really hit home that I had found something people needed. Right. And I love it. I love teaching people. I love giving knowledge. And at the same time, when I get people in here, they teach me things too. And
so what was your first group like when you first brought them in as like an actual service? Like, what was that like?
So I would say my first group was actually one of my first classes. We just threw it out there, and I had 4 or 5 people come in, and it was just a simple chain cleaning class. How do you maintenance and clean your chain? They came up. Few had bikes, few didn't. We put their bikes on the lift, so we're gonna teach you how to do it on your bike. And they were blown away, like, what? I hope you're ready to get dirty. And it was just this community. Everybody was talking and chattering and got to know each other, and we just had a good time, and they got to learn a skill that they need. Matter of fact, at the end of that class, I had about 4 people in that class. 3 of the 4 actually took off and went and did a ride afterwards. They're like, hey, let's go up the canyons and go have fun. Yes. So 2 of them or 3 of them have never met each other. 2 of them came together because they had heard and they were friends. So they had made friends in the shop with the same love, getting the same knowledge, and decided to go and burn up the canyon and have some fun. And they have been back to the shop several times, and they bring people because of that fun atmosphere we try to give.
Man, I love that so much. Motorcycles are just fun anyway, right? Like, they're kind of an adrenaline sport, if you will. It's a different thing when you're riding a motorcycle than a car. It's not just transportation anymore. Now it's just it's something extra. I don't know how to explain that. If you haven't ridden a motorcycle, you need to.
The best way it was explained to me, and you've felt this too, is it's an interactive game. You're not you're not in a cage. In a car, you're in this cage, and that's what we call it, as a cage. Uh, you're just behind a wheel, pushing pedals, going through the motions, making sure you're being safe. On a bike, there's nothing around you but the air. So it's a complete game. You're dodging people from left to right. You're making sure you're safe. At the same time, you're hopping in and out of traffic. And now with the new lane filtering, um, you can now you're going between lanes, being safe and following the rules to get ahead of everybody, so you can get to the front of the line and be like, yeah, now I can roll the throttle on and go.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Goodness. Yeah, exactly. I was just telling you that I love beating cars off the line. Like, it's just fun. Like, you're at a red light, you're like, I'm just see ya.
Yeah, and my bike's pumped up, so when you roll the throttle on, hang on, it goes.
Yeah, right, right. Um, Man, I've heard some really crazy statistics about pocket rockets, so we won't get into that. But um, man, that's an amazing journey. Like, tell me about how fulfilling it's been for you. Like, how does it feel to be able to teach people this stuff?
Oh, it's become a passion. It becomes such a passion that I actually got invited to adjunct teach at Salt Lake Community College's motorcycle and small engine program. So I do that periodically here and there when they need help. But to see people go from, I have no idea what size wrench goes here, what oil do I use, to, hey, I need to bring my bike in and do a service. They roll it up, you say hi, you make sure their bike's mounted up, and they do it themselves. It's just this passion that I've just fallen into, so much so that my son is here working with us that teaches too. Um, my wife's turned her passion of motorcycles into working for Utah Rider Education and coaching. So it's just become this addiction for all of us. And we had a story just this last week that it goes with this. A gentleman's been on the bike since 2000. Rode 10 years ago, he got transferred to Florida and left his bike in storage. Now he's retired, really has a hard time working on it himself. You heard about me. We brought his bike in, a couple different sessions of cleaning his carbs and getting this bike back on the road. He took off this Wednesday on his bike that he put together with a little bit of help, and the smile on his face was huge. Getting on his favorite bike he hasn't ridden on in 10 years and just being able to drive it home, knowing he did the work on it, and to be able just to enjoy that it's so fulfilling. I can't explain how fulfilling it is for all of us to be able to do that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about customer experience. So, when you're setting up an experience for your customers, like, what are some tips and tricks to really make your customers feel amazing about what you're doing?
Um, Engagement. Our shop is, what I've always done is everybody is like family in the shop. Take pride in just saying, you come in, you're welcome. When you come in, you know you're wanted to be here. So we want everybody to come in with a relaxed atmosphere. You don't know what you don't know, and that's not a bad thing. So we try to get people really comfortable with our customers saying, hey, I want to learn this, but I'm not intimidated by it. And then we just joke and kid around. You got to make it fun and enjoyable, and I don't know, that's kind of how we go in the shop, is just to have a good time and make everybody feel welcome and secure, and they're getting something out of it.
Awesome. And do you do any follow up with them?
We start doing some follow up with them. Our biggest follow up is when they come back to the shop, or they bring a friend back to the shop. We try to reach out to people. A few people, if it's a rainy day or something, we tell them, hey, let us know if you get home safely. You've just done work on your bike. Let me know tomorrow how you like it. Did everything go okay? Are you happy with the service? And but the follow up is when they always come back and they bring people with them, because they want to share the same environment and the experience they've had here.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So, so if you could give to those who are starting a business one piece of advice, um, as far as you getting to a place where you are now, what is the one piece of advice that you could give anybody out there that was kind of your superpower that really helped you the most?
Oh, that's a hard one. And people who've started businesses, that's a hard to choose one piece. Um, be educated in what you're planning on doing with your business and be flexible with that business plan. Um, so when you set it up, go with an idea and a formula to go forward, but be flexible to move with.
Now, you went out for just a moment there. You said be flexible to move.
To be flexible to move with the way things are going. If you have a direction you're planning on going, um, be willing to change that idea to bend with what you see as working. Um, Fluidity, I guess, is a good word for it. Uh, this from my initial idea here on the business side of things, I have changed how I do things and the way I'm marketing and um, presenting things about a dozen times.
Really?
Um, because one thing works, one thing doesn't. So just and listening to your customers is a huge one, and especially in this environment, I always ask for feedback. I always ask for them, and they give little tips like, "Hey, I'd like to see this," or "I didn't like this." And if you're willing to change and move with that and work with it, that's been the biggest thing I think that's made me work, made this company work, is being able to just move with what people want, suggestions that they give us.
I love that. So, what's your next step? What is the next step for you to really scale massively? Um, what are you looking at doing in order to scale?
So for me to scale, so I've got next month I'm going to release the first part of my project club. So it will be a monthly subscription that gets you some perks in the shop. And I've got 3 different tiers. I'm limited on my space in my particular shop. I'm already outgrowing it. So um, my next scaling will be to be able to keep with one, the demand, but two, getting into a larger place where I can be able to offer more options for my customers.
Okay. So, like, what kind of options are you looking at?
So the project club is the big one. To be able to launch that comes with a monthly membership to be able to use the shop, and have access to more discounts, more classes and stuff that are specific to the club. The next thing is to be able to get a couple more techs on board to be able to meet the customers on the service side who don't want to do it themselves. And then with both the project club and the service side kicking off, is being able to house more parts and material, so I can have that option open for just the walk-in customer retail side.
Right. So, which side right now do you need more of? Do you need help with fulfillment or sales?
Probably the fulfillment. I don't see a whole bunch of sales come through for people just picking up stuff off the retail side. Of course, the oil, the filters, all that's for anybody to buy. But it's more the fulfillment of being able to move more bikes out, get more customers in and out on a timely basis, more options for the DIYers to come in, and move them out so they can come in and go out because they're same day service. That's been the hardest challenge.
So wait, it's product or it's having enough employees or like what's the
Both.
bottleneck? Okay, so
It
having
it
enough
it
to sell them as well as having enough help to sell them.
correct. Yeah, the having enough technicians here to be able to work on the bikes, and then the product to be able to, because we have to order everything in, because we don't carry a lot. But the hardest thing is the supply chain, is getting stuff here in a timely manner to be able to get the parts or be able to have stuff for people to pick up on the retail side as well.
Mm, very cool. Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story. That was a really amazing story. And thank you for sharing your advice. I appreciate everything from you. Guys, if you think this will inspire someone who's a business owner, send it to them. I'm trying to do these at least twice a week. And thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody. And I appreciate you for being on, Jason. Yeah, guys, go be the creators that you were created to be. And have
Yeah,
a nice day.
and
Thank you.
don't be afraid of doing it. I spent a year and almost 2 years working two jobs. 2 weeks ago or last week, I went full time here at the shop. I wish I had done
Woo!
it sooner. So
Nice.
this is my primary job, and if you've got a dream, build it and go for it. Don't be afraid. That was my hang up. Don't be
Mm,
afraid to go for it.
yes.
It's not. I was told by a wise person once, or I read it in a book. I can't remember. Failure isn't failure. It's a learning experience for you to move on for your next challenge.
Yes. I love that. The only failure is quitting.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. And thanks for joining, guys. Have a good one.